All right, and we are on air. So good morning and happy Halloween, Mr. Kevin Smith. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. I'm so excited to take some time out this morning to chat with you and learn more about what you've been up to at Fresno State University. As we've welcomed you to the DTC Consultant Network, I want to learn more about your areas of focus and some key deliverables you're going to be offering winery teams here in 2017. For those of you listening to today's live broadcast, my name is Sandra Hess. I am the founder of DTC Wine Workshops, and I have the honor of sitting here with Kevin Smith, the wine, I guess, what would I call you? Wine strategy guru extraordinaire. Would that work?
Well, you could probably take off the word extraordinaire and and minimize the word guru and get closer.
Nice. Well, Kevin, let's open some things up. I really enjoyed our conversation last week. We spent some time together out at Fresno State University. I always love presenting to your enology students in the wine marketing program. And so again, thanks for having me out there. And of course, I even more so enjoyed our lunch together. And in that lunch, I really learned more about where you entered the wonderful world of the wine industry. So why don't we just start there with you sharing with the audience how you got started in this business?
Yeah, well, sure. I got my MBA. I started the MBA program here at the Craig School of Business, which is on the Fresno State campus, back in 1998. And they have one of the top entrepreneurship MBA programs in the state. And so that's why I came here. And I focused on the wine industry. I've always loved ag. I grew up in 4-H and FFA, so I loved ag, but I wanted a part of ag that was very social and sophisticated and had a lot of, business nuances to it. So the wine industry made a good fit for me. And as soon as I finished my MBA, my last semester or last year, my graduate project was the Fresno State Wineries Strategic Marketing Plan. So I worked with the chair, Bob Wample, at the winery and put together their marketing plan going forward, which was mostly a focus on direct to consumer. They had a few accounts in town and they weren't doing much with their wines, and we needed to focus on a tasting room experience and a wine club. So with that in hand, I moved out to what I thought was the fastest growing wine region in California at the time, I think, was, in terms of percent growth, was Paso Robles, and I wanted to be there where all the action was, and I like their wines as well. So I actually was my first summer going out there. I really knew I needed to get my hands dirty with just from the ground up, and I was spending weekends out there, living in the back of my car, working with some really amazing wineries like Lenny Coloto and Calcareous and Cloutier Vineyards. And I quickly got an opportunity to start doing some marketing consulting beyond just working in a tasting room or doing events. So I was able to work on a marketing plan with Cloutier Vineyards. And then with Calcareous, it was truly just a business launch experience from the ground up. I was instrumental in helping design what the tasting room was going to look like, put together the wine club, do all the events, do their online store, and that was a great experience for me. I just came in right at the right time with them, and they needed all the help because they were based in Iowa, and the granddad, Lloyd Messler, lived in Paso, but he needed a lot of help, and I got lucky. I was there at the right time in the right place. And
what interesting timing for you to go in and help this wine family from the ground up, launch their brand in Paso Robles. And it sounds like you did everything from sales and marketing strategy to out in the vineyards, working the harvest.
Yeah, a lot of people that work with boutique wineries can definitely attest to, you've got to have your mud boots right next to your laptop, because we're recruited for every step. We did some pruning, we did harvesting. I he trained me on the forklift, so we were able to stand in and do crush and do the whole process, do punch drowns and work the bottling line. And the neat thing about it is that really helps you communicate in the tasting room and give that real personal experience to customers. And they know that there's an element of genuineness there, I think, when you're talking about a specific wine and what's in the bottle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what a wonderful training ground for you, and obviously then to launch out and help other wineries in the DTC Consultant Network. And I think this is a really good segue into understanding more about your goals moving forward. We've gotten to know each other the last 2-3 years with DTC Wine Workshops, and you and I both get together and chat a lot about latest industry trends and direct-to-consumer wine sales. Now a $2 billion industry in wine shipped in 2015. We see more and more wineries shifting their sales model to that more of a 60% direct, 40% wholesale model, especially at that 25,000 to 50,000 case producer. And so we both know there's a lot of opportunity to support wineries, not only in our respective regions in California, but we're seeing wineries from all over the nation reach out to DTC Wine Workshops, asking for more strategic help when it comes to building out online store environments, or building the overall strategy for sales and marketing, wine pricing, distribution mix and models. So I'd like to hear from you about the 2 to 3 key deliverables that you're able to offer wineries as a DTC Consultant Network member.
Okay, great. Well, when I first came back from Paso Robles back to the Fresno area, I immediately started working with an organization called SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Corporation, and they help businesses tap into SBA loans. And so what do banks look at in order to secure small to medium-sized business loans, whether you call them phase 1 loans or phase 2 loans or phase 3 loans, all the way up into a venture capital type investment. And those packages are always different in what banks want to look at, or venture capitalists, or even at the beginning, just an SBA loan. So really it's the business launch phase that I love working with, or it's the growth phase. If a winery is looking to grow, and growth can be so many things. It can be that very young winery saying, look, we want to hire our first 3 full-time staff. That's a scary thing for a lot of people. And how are you going to make sure that pays off and put together the right responsibilities for those staff, and make sure that you're getting the most value out of them and they're getting a great experience as well. Or you're going to grow in square footage. Maybe you're finally converting that little bar that you have in the barrel room, and you're going to build a real tasting room across the yard. That's a huge expense. But you even need to treat your digital world as an investment. It's not just a matter of downloading a few free software applications and plucking away on it in the late hours at night. I think investing either in the right outside firm to help navigate things for you, or bringing on the right person, someone from a temp agency to start maybe, or hiring full-time, is really what you need to do if you're going to do the direct-to-consumer. So helping a winery go through a growth phase, helping them establish the right growth goals for 2017. Hey, where do we want to grow? And then strategically plan for that growth, and really how that dovetails with everything else you're doing, making sure that it doesn't take away from everything else you're doing right now, and it makes sense to your brand. Mm-hmm. You're not watering down your brand, you're enhancing your brand. And it's just all going to make sense to what you've done so far, but it's an area that you need to grow into as well. And like I said, whether it's physical space, HR, or maybe you want to expand your footprint in terms of promotion and bring people in from a little bit farther distance. Maybe you're located 50 miles away from a city, and you want to try and start bringing in people that are from that town into. So growth planning and launch planning have really been my strengths. And the plan includes the budgeting, the HR, the strategy, and the marketing.
Mm-hmm. So how lucky are we that you have some time on your hands, aside from what you do as a professor there at the Fresno State University, also supporting the Fresno State Winery and events there, but also now that you have some time on your hands to really help out a few wineries really looking to be more strategic with their direct-to-consumer business. And so we're just so grateful to have you on board. I wanted to take time out really with this interview to inform our audiences about really who you are, what your capabilities are, and the fact that you can come in and work on a project-by-project basis to support growth and make strategic decisions, help stakeholders, winery owners really be able to take what they've already learned through data analytics and their tools that they've already invested in, but then how do you take that and work more strategically? So Kevin, let's wrap up a little bit in today's interview, and why don't you share with us, we're wrapping up here October, it's Halloween already, we're looking ahead to 2017, wanting to make sure that we finish Q4 strong. Let's hear from you a little bit about, what you see are as the top, key opportunities in 2017 as consumers continue to demand more and more wine shipped direct.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that you need to stay committed to the customers that may have brought you to where you are. But I think any winery that is not paying attention to the new market and the new consumers, they're going to be left behind in the near future. Because even people like me, I mean, I'm a young baby boomer, very technology. I'm just into technology, and I like everything. I do shop a lot on Amazon.com. I do spend time on social media. So these are important tools that we have to be planning for and investing in, putting some resources into. When you sit down at that table and you say, hey, we need a new cross-flow pump, you should also be saying, oh yes, and we also need to hire a new social media guru who can help us with our new markets. People I think the millennial crowd and the younger generation are looking for more video experience, more of an experience in the winery. In terms of customer loyalty, it's harder to capture loyalty just because I think they're much more adventurous. They want to go out and adventure and explore more wines, but you can offer the sense of exploration and adventure right inside your tasting room. There's even such a thing that some businesses, I haven't seen it so much in the wine world, but some businesses are taking on what's called the concept of gamification. Gamification, these kids grew up with video games and they get addicted into gamification. Websites that reveal more and more content, the more time you spend on them, is a very interesting concept to keep people loyal to your website. Things like that in your tasting room. Every time you visit a tasting room, perhaps you get an elevated experience. So I would definitely say keep the traditions, keep some events that definitely reward the audience that got you where you are today, but find ways that also are attracting the next generation of wine consumers. Their wine tastes, I think, are all over the board. They love the sweetened wines with a little bit of fruitiness on the top, but I think they're also very favorable to the big structural wines. I don't think that in terms of your wine profile programming, anything really needs to shift there. It's how it's packaged, how it's presented, and how it's sold that makes the difference.
Great words of wisdom, Kevin. And as you walked us through that, you reminded me of a quote that I love to include in my presentations, a stat that came from Nielsen this past year around peer reviews, and that individuals now are 77% more likely to purchase a product if provided a review or a referral from a friend or family member. And we're seeing that stat really play out over this past year in e-commerce sites who are using peer reviews, leveraging 5-star ratings and comments on product pages. We're seeing the payoff, in monthly sales reports with online sales growth. And I know this has been an interesting nut to crack for many wineries throughout the nation over the last, 3 to 5 years, as Amazon continues to pave the way. How do wineries really get into that game and see some true traction in the online, from tasting room, from club parties and so forth? So I think you really nailed it when you talk about appealing to the younger audiences, including things like peer reviews or maybe gamification, custom content, sticky content, I call it also, whether it's through the website, social media, and email. So really exciting to get together with you today and talk about the future of direct-to-consumer wine sales in the United States in 2017. Also, for those of you in the audience, Kevin Smith, again, is a new member of the DTC Consultant Network. You can find his bio at dtcwineworkshops.com. Look at the Consultant Network member tab, and you will find his bio as well as his contact information. So a great opportunity to get in touch, schedule an introductory phone call, get better acquainted, and look at ways to become more strategic in selling direct wine in 2017. Kevin, any final words as we wrap up today's interview?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to planning, I would definitely plan and budget for success. Statistics show that you are 50% more likely to succeed in your next year if you've put together a strategic plan for it. And that includes making sure your existing staff and vested people have buy-in to that plan. And the only way to get buy-in is to make sure they were a part of putting it together. So make sure it's not just some document that you hand off to them and say, hey, we're going to do this. They should already know what's in it as it's being built. So get buy-in, plan and budget for your DTC marketing for 2017. And then calendarize that plan, put it into an action plan and something you're going to focus on each month. What are your deliverables? What are your metrics? And at the end of the day, what measurements are you going to put in place to make sure your plan was successful at the end of the year? Mm-hmm. So I think those are a few really important tips when it comes to your strategic planning.
Thank you. You've given us just some gems today as we've chatted here in the Google Hangouts, the wonderful world of technology, Google Hangouts on air.
Yeah, I was disappointed you couldn't give me that cup of coffee over
there. Here, I'll try again, Kevin. Let's try one more time, right? Oh my goodness, it's always a pleasure to get together with you. Also, before I wrap up, I did want to mention that the audience also has the opportunity to connect with you online in a series of workshops in 2017. DTC Wine Workshops will be releasing our 2017 catalog of online workshops, which we're going to have actually over 60. So I'm just kind of letting the word out now that, 2016 we delivered 40. Now that, we're going for 60. We've got 14 consultant network members on board now with wonderful specialty areas supporting wineries of all shapes and sizes. We're asking for more best practices and training online, so that if you're wanting to join from Virginia or you're up in the Northwest or down in Paso, you've got the opportunity right from your desktop to meet up with members like Kevin Smith of the DTC Consultant Network in 70 different online workshops. So stay tuned. Again, that catalog will be released by December 5th, I think was the date we had committed to. It could be the 10th, give or take a few days. But watch for that announcement at dtcwineworkshops.com. Again, it's a pleasure, Kevin. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule too, Sam.
Cheers.
Take care.